Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Tom and I'm the Tech Chap, and in this video I'll be reviewing the latest Android 6.0 Marshmallow update. So the latest Android software codenamed Marshmallow is slicker and smarter than ever, but in terms of features it's more like Android 5.3 than 6.0. The headline feature is Google Now on Tap, which is activated by a long press of the home button. It offers Google Now style information such as links, calendar updates, IMDb news that relates to the page or app you're looking at. I was actually pretty impressed when I used it in a text conversation where the words sat and bowling in different messages were mentioned. Now on Tap asked if I wanted to add a bowling event to my calendar for the following Saturday. It's a smart cookie for sure. Essentially what it does is it turns the contents of what's on your phone or tablet screen into a search or an action, offering similar results to a Google Now search or Google Now cards. If you Google Matt Damon, for example, and open Now on Tap, it will give you links to his IMDb page and recent movies. Now on Tap will pick up key title words and provide contextual information from Wikipedia, from Google News Stories, and even links to YouTube. However, like my local pub at the end of a busy Saturday night, there's often nothing on tap. Sometimes Google has nothing more to add and will say there is simply nothing on tap for that particular screen. This reminded me of using Force Touch on the new iPhone 6s for the first time. It works on some apps, but not others, so it becomes a bit of a trial and error situation. In the end, it is really just a shortcut to performing a simple Google search, but when it works it can save you some time, and I'm a big fan of the Google Now as a personal assistant, and so integrating it into more aspects of your phone or tablet with Now on Tap is a good move. Now I reckon most people like you and I simply want a phone that lasts longer. That's the most important thing, and that's why Google are tackling battery life issues with new Doze and app standby features. With Doze, when your phone isn't being used, it will automatically and intelligently power down after a period of inactivity, putting it into a sleep state. This can actually provide up to 2.7 times longer standby battery life compared to a device running Lollipop. As well as Doze, App Standby reduces the battery drain caused by apps, limiting their standby impact on battery life. It's difficult to know what effects certain apps do have on our devices. For example, I only recently learned that Spotify can drain as much as 2% of your battery per hour, even when it's not used and it's simply cached in the background. So combining an intelligent low-powered Doze mode with reduced battery drain from standby apps will noticeably improve your device's battery life, which is great news. Now, as well as battery, security is very, very important. From passwords to drunken, or should I say family photos, we have all sorts of personal data stored on our phone. So keeping the device as well as the data on the device safe is very, very important. When you download a new app, you will often be prompted to allow or deny it, giving it permissions. Without really thinking of it, most of us will just give it permission to do whatever it needs to do. More often than not though, app permissions do simply just allow apps to access your location and push notifications, for example, but they can store data and we hardly ever know exactly what certain apps are doing in the background. The good news is that the latest Android software allows you to specify and even disable app permissions for individual apps at any time. Perhaps you don't want Facebook accessing your microphone or Spotify to access your contacts, for example, you can turn that off. While you could argue that it's not the most glamorous or exciting new feature, I think refined app permissions may be one of the most significant new changes in Android 6, particularly for our security. But of course, the most obvious way of keeping our data safe is preventing from others accessing it in the first place. And to that end, Android Fingerprint software with Android 6 allows you to unlock your phone with a registered fingerprint. While this will obviously be limited to devices that feature fingerprint readers, such as the new Nexus 5X and 6P, it's a great new method for unlocking your phone. With a PIN, password, or swipe pattern set as the backup, you can rely on your finger to quickly and securely unlock your phone. You can even pay for apps in the Google Play Store with your finger and check out securely with Android Pay. Android 6 also brings back full support for SD cards. Previously, Android KitKat had removed the ability to install apps on external storage devices like microSD cards, but now Google has seen the light and thankfully added the ability to set up SD cards as adaptable storage, which means your phone or tablet will treat external and internal storage equally as one. This is great news. It means you no longer have to worry about file management between storage devices, and most importantly, you can now install apps onto SD cards. Unfortunately though, this does come at a time when fewer and fewer devices are offering microSD support. Overall, I would say Marshmallow is a sensible update. It adds deeper integration of Google Now and improvements to the battery life, as well as smarter security and more streamlined storage. These may not be particularly exciting, but they are significant and are examples of how I think the Android operating system is maturing. The main problem with Marshmallow isn't a lack of features, it is simply that most of us will have to wait months until we can actually use it. This is of course a result of the ongoing issue with Android fragmentation, where manufacturers can take anywhere from weeks to years to optimize their third-party software with Google's latest OS. Of course this isn't anything new, this has always been the case with Android, but it does however make phones and tablets with a Nexus branding like the new 5X and 6P much more compelling, as they do receive the updates almost immediately. If you do own a Nexus device or are lucky enough to get the latest software soon after release, you may actually have to wait for some of the apps to be updated to support it. For example, Need for Speed, at the time of writing, isn't compatible with Android 6 Marshmallow. So thank you very much guys for joining me for this Android 6.0 Marshmallow review. Please do like and subscribe for more, and keep it locked to the Tech Chap. I'll see you again soon. Cheers guys.